I'd show you everything I did in a year, but that would take a year. So, Mark and Ethan have asked us what we've done for the past year, and this is part of what I've done for this year. I actually didn't know about Unus Annus until I think maybe March, but it really helped and inspired me to start trying to do as many things as I possibly could before the end of the channel versus the end of the year. But during that time, I published a poetry book. It's called Love, Depression, and Other Things Hollywood Romanticizes. The artwork was done by one of my friends. I'm not that talented yet. But I really like it. Her name's Jody Curry. She doesn't really do commission works, but I mean, if you look in the book, you'll find her name, so it's not like I could keep it secret anyway. But I thought I would read a poem out of it for free. Yeah, you don't have to buy it to hear one poem, so that works out right. And I guess I can put the link in the description if anyone ends up being curious about it. But anyway, before I start reading it, I want to bring up one of the phrases that encapsulates Unus Annus, which is Momento Mori. We all know what that means, hopefully by now, but just in case you don't, it means remember death in Latin. And it's a huge focus on remembering our own deaths, and how one day our time runs out. But I think it should also be a reflection of the people we've already lost. So remembering that death, but still clinging on to their bit of life as we continue forward. So kind of like honoring the death of those that we've lost. So the poem I'm going to read is about my grandmother, Mimi, because that's what you say in the South, you know, or that's the sort of names we give grandmothers. I'm just glad it wasn't Mima, but no offense to anyone who uses Mima. But so this is a poem I wrote called Mimi's House. It rhymes. I'm not really a rhymer, so this was a little bit out of my comfort zone, but alright, enough stalling. I should just read. Yeah, I should just read. So, Mimi's House. Every summer there I'd go and help her make sweet corn pone, and on the porch we'd snap green beans, mosquitoes kept out by porch's screens. We'd sit outside on rainy days, let her reminisce about old days. Drink tea, and while the turntable spins Pavarotti, make fun of church women's hats, Lord, how gaudy. Salted watermelon, honeysuckle, and crab at the picnic out in the yard out back. On the porch, watching the stars in the pitch black. Her silly songs and silly dancing, her Charlie's perfume, and a never-inherited garnet ring. The pink azaleas have been removed. For buyers, it has been improved. The sink is now made of chrome, and someone else will call it home. And someone else will call it home. Thank you for listening. So, over the course of the pandemic, I also had been studying witchcraft. I created some sigils. I'll see if I can throw some of those in the video as well. I did kind of dabble with tarot cards, but I didn't get very far. But one of the things that I really enjoyed doing was tasseomancy, which is the, I guess, art of tea leaf reading. It's really interesting to me because I feel like it's just a different version of an inkblot test for the subconscious. But yeah, so I'm gonna show you how you do that. So here we go. So the first thing you want is a teacup. It's best to have the kind that actually has the curve at the bottom versus like a mug or something. just so that you can read each of the different tiers. So for me, at the bottom is the past, and the middle is the present, and then the top is the future. You typically use 1 teaspoon or 1 to 2 teaspoons of tea, which I've already poured out because I knew it was going to be hard for me to try to do it while I recorded. I've got my almost boiling tea, or water, sorry, because if you over brew the water, you're gonna scald the leaves, and it makes it more bitter. So now we're just gonna steep that. Some people swear by not putting cream in it, so it's easier to read the leaves. But I won't say that I haven't cheated and used cream before. And since I'm on keto, I'm gonna sweeten it with sugar-free vanilla syrup. This is Golden Dragon tea. It was sold by Teavana. I'm pretty sure all of the Teavana stores are shut down now, so we probably can't get it. You're supposed to use black tea for this, but I'm using what they consider yellow tea, but that's controversy in of itself. People are like, yellow tea doesn't exist, and other people are like, it does exist. In my opinion, just drink it. I don't know why this is bothering you so much. So now I've steeped the tea for 2 to 3 minutes, because it's a yellow tea, even if, you know, it's controversial whether or not it exists. If it had been a black tea, it's typically 3 to 5 minutes, and usually that's what they recommend for tea leaf reading. So the next part is thinking about what you want to ask and sipping the tea. I'm just going to do a general reading, past, present, and future. Now let's get drinking. You flip the cup like so. Make sure the handle's facing towards you. There's gonna be a little bit of a dribble left over. You turn it 3 times, clockwise, counterclockwise. It's in debate. I'm just gonna do it this way. It's what feels right. And a lot of witchcraft or things like this is about using your intuition versus, you know, studying a whole bunch of rules. Not that the rules don't help or anything, but and then you're gonna tap the bottom of the cup 3 times. That's basically knocking to see whatever spirit that's going to guide you with your question you're asking to come in. So if it like shatters and breaks, don't come in. I'm just kidding. That's never happened, at least not to my knowledge. I really think a lot of this is psychology versus spirits, but that would be a whole other video, and that's not what we're here to do. So then you'll lift it up. So the first time around I did not tap hard enough, but now I have. So here's the bottom and the middle of the cup. Looks like there's no advice about the future, which honestly makes sense for me. Mostly because I'm struggling with a lot of things in the past. So let's see what it has to say. So here's a longer glance at the bottom. Usually what you should do is you should slowly rotate the cup, picking out the symbols as you go along and putting it in a list for you to decipher later, which I've done now. And I just saw something new, so I'm going to go ahead and write that, and then we'll start seeing what everything means. Alright, so this is what we have. And now the more that I read it, maybe I have it backwards, and it's the bottom that's supposed to be the future, and then backwards, but anyway. So there was a ladybug in the present. It says minor worries will disappear, dramatic and uncontrollable emotions. Yeah, that's pretty accurate. I've been having a lot of trouble with anxiety and depression. So, branch is a sense of imprisonment within your own home. Haha. Wonder what that sounds like. Not that there's a pandemic going around or anything. The butterfly is a new start in a career aspect, which would be great. Not that I don't love where I am right now or anything, but then there was a tree trunk that says you need to involve people to help. I have a bad habit of not letting people in to help me and just trying to struggle on my own. Also, I think it's trying to tell me to work on my core, like who I am as a person, because I feel very lost right now. Like I'm not really sure who I am as a person. Flip the camera around because I figured it would be more interesting to look at my face than at a piece of paper. So the next one was a damselfly. Turns out in tea leaf reading, damselflies and dragonflies basically have the same meaning, which I didn't know that, so I did have to look that up. Movie magic, nobody saw me actually, looking that up, but apparently 2 people come to me for advice. Yeah, that's the only meaning that I could really find for that. There was a sailboat, which means overwhelming success in commercial matters. Also, if I stay the same, boredom will creep in, that I need a holiday, and that I'm having a frustration with a new hobby, which is true. I've been trying to learn the air who. Y'all have seen that now in the video, and I don't know why it screeches so much. At the beginning, it sounded so smooth and everything. I've tightened the strings, I've rosined the bow God knows how many times. I'm not really sure why it's doing that, but it's driving me nuts. And since that video, I've kind of figured out Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but I probably don't have time to record that and put this back into the video, but so yeah, that's everything that's in the present or the middle of the cup. And then we get to the bottom of the cup, which has a lot to do with my past. I'm not really going to go too into detail because that would be too much information for the internet, but I've been having to struggle a lot with things in my past, and I'm pretty sure that's what my subconscious is trying to tell me, that I need to focus and confront these things, even though I really don't want to. I have been going to therapy. It's been helping a lot. Or it's you feel better, but you feel worse at the same time because you're having to think about things you really didn't want to have to deal with ever again. But that's enough on that. So there was an eagle, which means someone's talking about you. And then the teepee was, I saw a teepee, which means that I'm a hard worker. It can also mean that you'll travel for work, but I never really traveled for work, so I'm guessing that's not part of it. It also can be that you're better as a leader and that you should work at trying to be a leader. I don't like to lead things. I know I'd be a good leader, but I don't really want to do it. I prefer to just, do whatever work is needed rather than lead other people. So, and then clumps, just clumps in the cup. That's misfortune and struggling and pain from your childhood. So that's fun. There's a stick. Oh wait, sorry. The stick is what is confronting the pain from your childhood. The clumps are just misfortune and struggling, both of which are true. And then I saw a fish, which is difficulty with independence and purpose. And I'm still struggling with that now. Accurate. I just want to clarify I don't really believe, well, I'm open to the possibility of magic being a thing, but I'm not going to put all of my eggs in one basket and just believe that that's how it goes down. But it was interesting and fun to learn about, and I was expecting all sorts of like demonic crap with witchcraft, but really it was about learning who you were as a person, or who you are as a person, and believing in your own power to be able to make things happen. So that was nice. Also, like the sigils, I'd put them on my arm to remind me to think more positively about myself, so psychologically it helped me a lot in that way too. So, yeah. So, on the same page of honoring those who have died, over this year I wrote a song for my grandmother, and I'm going to share it. I guess the best part of making these videos is that once the channel ends, so will this video, and no one will see it on all the places that I posted it. So I feel like it gives me a lot more confidence. Honestly, I'm surprised I'm doing this at all, especially not wearing makeup except for maybe some lipstick. But anyway, so I wrote this song for my grandmother, Mimi, and it's called If Angels Dream. When you dream of me, sweet cerulean wafting, an impressionist painting of the place we'll be meeting. Oh, rocking chairs and too sweet tea, turntable spins, Pavarotti, honeysuckle and the China berry tree, the only things you could get growing. You dream of me and I'll dream of you, the angels are watching over you, it's true, the last thing I heard from you. Oh, oh, if you dream of me, I've been patiently waiting and silently still praying in your red-roofed house painting. Oh, oh, oh. My songs are every scream of grief, the chronic in my chest has no relief. It took me 5 years to simply sing again. Do they let you dream in heaven? If only you knew the hell I'm living, if only I knew there was a heaven after all. Can you hear me? Oh, me. It took me years, but I came through. It's not much, but here's my song for you. You dream of me and I'll dream of you, your angel is watching watching over me, it's true. At least that's what I'll convince myself to. Oh, 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 oh. Thank you. Okay, so I've been learning the air who very recently. I suck at it, but I can kind of play a D scale, if I remember correctly. So that's what I'm going to showcase right now. It's not very impressive. I might start playing my original piece, The Dying Cat, but yeah, let's just get through this. Oh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Let's try it again. Pray for my family. They have to deal with this for hours while I figure it out. Thank you. I honestly think the funniest thing about this erhu is not only did I snap, as in like cut this string, which you're not supposed to cut, I had to teach myself how to retie it. So I've learned a lot more about this instrument than I would have necessarily wanted. Oh, haha, I also snapped one of the strings the third day I started playing it, so that was fun. I also had to figure out how to restring that. And it's been really difficult to learn how to play the instrument just because there aren't that many places where there's lessons for it. There's airwholessons.com. She does a pretty good job. And then like there's like little videos here and there that have helped. But hopefully at some point I'll be able to play it pretty well. I was able to figure out a little bit of one of the songs that I've written, Not Me song. But yeah, it's been a wild ride. So thank you for listening to my rendition of Dying Cat. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Thank you for listening. Bye. I think the thing that worries me the most is actually sharing this video. I don't have a very good self-esteem. I'll admit that. I'm working on it. I've gotten a lot better than I was. But I'm still worried that everyone's going to laugh at me for making this video. But I guess it doesn't really matter, right? Because it's only going to be up for a week, maybe less. Because I'm deleting it along with the channel. So I guess it makes me a little braver knowing that it'll be gone forever. You know, once the channel is deleted too. So knowing that it's not going to last is actually kind of comforting. And I guess maybe that's how they feel about Unus Annus' channel too. So I appreciate it because now I have the courage to do it because I know that it's going to end. And even if people laugh, it's not like the video is going to be up forever. So, yeah. Honestly, this pandemic's been very hard for me. It's become very apparent who my friends are and who weren't my friends. But I don't necessarily see that as a curse. I mean, I'd rather know who was actually my friends versus who wasn't. I've been stuck inside this entire 8 months because my mom's immunocompromised, and I also don't want to be one of the people that spreads it around and kill someone who is important to someone else. Sorry. I've lost about 3 people from COVID at this point. It's been pretty rough. And I've also lost my paternal grandmother, not Mimi, Grammy, earlier this year. It wasn't COVID related, but this year has been incredibly difficult for a lot of people. And I'm honestly very grateful for Unus Annus, because it's not that I've never pushed myself to try to learn a whole bunch of things, but like this encouraged me to try even harder, because the way I cope with anxiety and depression is learning how to do new things. So like one year I learned how to script. I scripted a Pokemon game for my littlest sister and she loved it, so that was pretty cool. I do want to learn coding at some point. I want to be able to play the darn air who. And even with everything bad that's happened this year, I've learned a lot about myself, about coping more healthily, about being able to allow myself to feel when I'm feeling sad instead of just shoving it all down. And I've done a lot of amazing things by being trapped at home. I've written a poetry book. I've learned about witchcraft. I've learned about tasseomancy. I'm learning how to play the air who. I wrote a song. I published a poetry book. So there's a lot of things here that I've done, and I've done very well. But the thing about me is, it's never enough. I never feel like I've done enough. I feel like I've wasted this entire pandemic and that I haven't gotten anything done, which is ridiculous because I've gotten so much done. But I always feel like I just haven't done enough. And I wonder if that's how Mark and Ethan feel too. I wonder if that's how they feel about all the videos that they didn't get to do. And I'm going to be really sad when they delete the channel. But I've never been more grateful to be a part of something, and being able to see what everybody else has been doing during this crazy year that's been going on even before the pandemic. And I'm hoping one day I'll be brave enough to maybe start my own YouTube channel. I probably need to work on my stage presence, but those are all things that I can continue to work on as I continue to work and grow myself. So yeah, thank you for watching this video all the way through if you did, and Momento Mori, friends. Take care.